Would you rather receive one big present or 10 little presents?
10 little presents.
I am right on the same page as you, Ainsley, because
Yeah.
I'd love to have 10 little
Oh, yeah.
presents too.
Yeah.
Little presents.
Yeah.
Little presents. Little presents.
In audio. In audio.
Welcome back to part 2 of Second Saturday, the podcast where every Sunday feels like a Saturday.
So I'm Ainsley.
And I'm Jenn.
I guess we're gonna call this episode 15. It's kind of episode 14 part 2.
It's 14B.
But we're just
14
gonna go
part
with
2.
15.
15.
Keep things easy.
Okay.
Last week our would you rathers, they or not our would you rathers, sorry, our never have I evers.
Never have I evers.
Took quite a while.
They ran long.
Quite a while. Really long.
Yeah,
really long. Like, as you can tell, we're still in the same outfits because we finished.
We realized that was way too long for one episode.
And we were like, oh, that's
dangerous.
too long. So here we are, 2 episodes, but even better.
Yep.
But you're just gonna get to hear the rest of our. I keep wanting to say would you rather question.
Yeah, no, we're going to continue on with Never Have I Ever.
Never have I ever.
But first, we're going to quickly discuss our new Would You Rather.
Yes.
So, Ainsley, you have picked 10 little gifts.
Yeah, I just think like one big gift, and that's great. Like, obviously, it's going to be something really, really, really awesome. But like, you could have 10 really, really awesome little things.
Right.
You know, and then it's just more things. You get to enjoy the moment longer.
Here's my reasoning. If I get that one big thing and I don't like it.
Oh, that's true.
I got nothing else. So I would rather get 10 little gifts and like 7 out of 10 of them.
Yeah. I guess I better buy you 10 little gifts.
You better buy me 10 little gifts and then you know like 7 of them. So that's a little bit rude, but I mean, trust me, if you give me the one big gift, I'm going to say I love it.
Yeah.
And I will love it. But
she might re-gift it.
I might re-gift it. As we talked about the last time. Don't give me a big rice cooker because I don't want it. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. So anyways, no, I also would go for 10 little gifts. I think you stand a better chance of finding that one thing that you absolutely love.
Yes.
So there we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways, we're going to continue on.
Enjoy the rest of our Never have I ever questions.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever. Enjoy.
Never have I ever. Okay. Never have I ever re-gifted a gift.
Never have I ever re-gifted a gift.
I think I have my answer.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I know. 1, 2, 3.
I've never.
You've never done anything, man. You're
I know.
boring.
Listen, I'm just. I'm just such a good person.
Yeah, I have.
I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty sure I was given, and I don't know if I won this at a bonspiel or something, but I received a rice cooker for something. I don't know if I was maybe at like a gift exchange or something, but I received a rice cooker for Christmas one day. I don't know, maybe one of my family gave it to me. I don't remember. I didn't keep it. So I had this rice cooker and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. So anyways, I think that year we had a staff white elephant Christmas exchange. So I wrapped that sucker up and I made it look so pretty and so fun. And when that person opened that rice cooker and they're like, oh, I already have a rice cooker. Nobody swapped it out.
That's awesome.
It was. Awesome. Here's a little white elephant trick, which I have done for years and years. And I have divulged this to a few people and now they're kind of onto me. But when I used to go to like a Christmas gift exchange, like I was on an executive for a center for children and stuff like that. And a few staff things as well. I would always get what I wanted and I would wrap it up so crappy and just make it look like the saddest gift ever. Yep. And the first time I did this, I remember you kids were little and it was a little snowman hot chocolate pot and it had a little like twirly thingy, like electric whisk that you went into it. And it's not something I would buy for myself, but I'm like, I'd really love to have that. Yeah. So I bought it and I wrapped it as crappy as I could. I made it look as uninteresting as possible. And I went, so then we're at this party and it's my turn to pick. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I'll just pick this. We'll see what it is. And so I picked it and I opened it. I'm like, oh, well, isn't this is nice. Oh, I love this. And nobody picked it off of me. So I got to
Oh,
keep
yeah?
what I bought. And I'm like,
That's nice. Yeah.
this is
I've
a
heard
really good
you.
idea.
She does this quite often.
I do. So I did it another time at a staff Christmas party we had, and most people were bringing some form of wine or liquor. And so just before the event, I went with one of my coworkers and we're trying to pick our stuff out. I said, I'm just going to pick what I want. I said, and then I'm going to wrap it really crappy. I said to her, I said, I'm going to pick it. So, and I don't think this one, I think what you picked is what you got.
Yeah.
So she looked at me and she's like, okay. So anyways, I picked this lovely, like salted caramel-y liqueur, like creamy. Oh, it was lovely. So I picked it because I didn't want to get red wine. I'm not a red wine drinker. And I think the year past I got a red wine. So anyways, I wrapped it as crappy as possible. And it was my turn. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'll just take this. And I opened it up. I'm like, oh, well, this looks interesting. I'm like, what this is, and I'm trying to read the label and my girlfriend, her eyes are just shouting, oh my God. Like she didn't say it, but she just looked at me like, are you for serious? And
Really?
I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. I wonder what this will taste like. Well, I'll give this a try. And so I always pick the thing that I want and then I wrap
Yeah.
it really crappy. And
I mean,
then
it's
nobody takes
smart.
it.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Work
So
smarter,
there's a little
not harder.
tidbit out for you people. If you're going to any holiday Christmas parties,
Yeah.
you've got to do a gift exchange. Get something you like and just wrap it crappy.
Yep.
Just wrap
Oh,
it
yeah.
crappy and then pick it and just be surprised. Oh, wow, I didn't even think of this. This is a great idea. Oh, you know what? This will work for me.
Yes.
And I've done that for years and years and years. Works like a charm. Okay.
Love it.
Moving on, Ainsley.
Never have I ever skipped school in high school.
Oh, skip school in high school. Well, it's kind of hard to skip school in elementary school, I imagine.
Well,
I
sure
don't know,
lots of people
maybe.
do it.
I guess. Without
I
your
know.
parents.
Actually, I went to school with a lot of people who were definitely skipping school in elementary
Oh.
school.
In elementary. Okay. So this is high school. Ready? 1,
Yes.
2, 3.
I have.
You have, and I have as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a rite of passage as a
I
as a
actually
high
just
school
skipped
student.
school on Wednesday, so Wednesday morning. It wasn't anything
Oh.
important though.
All right, fair enough.
But
Yeah.
yes, we both have. I mean, I am someone who doesn't like to skip school. Never have. I mean, I've definitely gotten a little bit more lenient in my college years. No, if
I can
I'm,
remember
if,
you being sick and not
Oh,
wanting to go to
that's
school,
yeah.
and I said no,
was
and then you were like, "No, I'm going."
I was in elementary school. I was throwing up all like in
Yeah.
the early hours in the morning. It's kind of like time to go to school came around. I'd stopped being sick, but I was definitely ill. Like I was ill.
Yeah.
And she was
You
like,
were.
"Nope, you can't go to school." I was like, "No, I want to go to school." You're like, "No." And
You
so
were arguing with me.
you agreed that if at lunchtime I was feeling better, I could go. I was like, "Okay." 10:30 recess, and you were the secretary at the school at the time. So 10:30 recess comes around and I called and I was like, I want to go to school. Like I feel fine. I want to go to school. So you came home and picked me up, and I went to school. And we had a substitute teacher in my class, and this lady, she'd been a substitute teacher my entire life, and was basically a full-time teacher for me. And I have a really great relationship with her. And I walked into class and sat down, and she's like, "Ainsley, you do not look well." And I was like, "I am not well." And she's like, "Should you go home?" I was like, "No." And I fought through it for the whole day. I felt horrible, but I hated the idea of missing school. And
I mean, listen, if your kid's arguing
yeah,
about dying to come back to school, what are you going to do?
yeah,
And kids bounce back fast. I'm pretty sure you probably still looked peaked, but you're probably okay. Kids
yeah.
bounce back
I
really
was.
fast.
I probably should have stayed home just for my own sake, but I went to school. And even in high school, I didn't like missing school much. I know I definitely have there's definitely a couple like last periods where my elective was usually in my last period. And in my one elective especially, I was like well ahead of the class. And so I didn't have much to do. So I would go to my grandma's or something. Or I remember I skipped school one time. Dad drove my brother and I to school, and this was like because we went to school in another town from where we were living. And it's when he was like looking at houses, and I went with him to go look at houses
Oh
because
my
I was
gosh.
like, well, I skipped first period and went and looked at houses because we were thinking of moving, and then we found the house we were going to move into without you seeing it. And we're like, oh, this works.
Yeah. I'm like,
But-
okay.
And I ended
That's
up I ended up making it back to class with 5 minutes left, and my teacher's like, "Do you want me to mark you as present?" I was like, "Yeah." And I got
So then I didn't get the call.
absent.
I didn't get the call for the skip school.
Yeah, but no,
Love
I've
it.
definitely skipped. But if I was to skip, and if I do skip now, it's always because I know like there's nothing going on
Sure.
or I'm not needed. Like my class on Wednesday, for example, is like meetings. Like we have meetings with our crews, and I was not an important crew member for that, and I was like, no, I'm
You're
not going
good.
to go for that.
Okay.
So
You're good. I also have skipped school in high school. And let me tell you, at the time, my mom worked at the board office. So she used to have to sign documents to send back and forth to the school all the time. And that was when you had to like sign yourself, like sign out. So I would skip school. But what I would do is I'd write a note and I'd sign my mom's name. I don't even know if my mom knows this. And I had to practice that like really, really hard to get it like enough that was convincing that they would look at it. Oh, okay. Because my girlfriends and I, we would take extended lunch breaks every once in a while. And once we got like into grade 12 or grade 13, that's how old I am. And back in the 90s, if you wanted to go to university, you had to do an extra year of high school and get
in Ontario.
pre-university in Ontario and get pre-university courses. And once I was then, and I think I was 18 at the time, I didn't have to sign out. But so I would forge a note for my mom, and then we would go and have an extended lunch break. We'd go into town and we would have a lunch for like 2 hours, 2 hours plus. And there'd be 6 or 8 of us. We go for
Oh my
lunch.
goodness.
Didn't care.
Yeah,
Listen,
I always had to be
it's a rite
forced
of
to leave
passage.
school. I remember in high school even I in grade 9, I ended up getting a concussion playing dodgeball. And I had gym right before lunch, had lunch, and then I had a class afterwards. And I went to my class after lunch and like I was not okay. My head hurt. I had a really bad headache.
You need
And
a T-shirt that says that. I am not okay. You say that so many times in your life, Ainsley. I am not
What?
okay.
When did I oh, when we were in Gimli I said that.
Yes,
When I ate, I did not feel it. I was like, I am not okay.
Oh, I can't
Oh,
even.
anyways, I had a teacher and she was like after class, like I just had my head on the desk the whole time, like I could, and she's like you need to go home, and I was like no, like she's like no, like you need to go, like I'm making you go home. And in my high school, if you were to leave, you had to go to the office and sign out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember class ended and I went upstairs to my locker first to get my stuff before I went to the front office. And when I got to the office, she was in there waiting for me to make sure I left. And
Yes.
I had to go walk home to grandma's and wait to go home. But she went in there to make sure I was gonna leave.
Oh,
I was
see,
like,
like
wow,
you just hate missing school.
I do.
Listen, I didn't like to miss school either, but if we're doing an extended lunch, I'm all
Yeah,
over that. If it has
why
food
not?
involved, I'm
Yeah,
there. Yeah, I didn't just like sneak away to go, I don't know,
yeah.
joyriding or something. I don't know. I just no. But for lunch, absolutely. I would.
Oh yeah.
100% every time. Every time. Okay.
Never have I ever peed in a pool. I
Well, does
don't
this count as a kid? Because I'm pretty sure I peed in a pool
know.
as a kid.
No, but
This is an adult.
so this is a question I added because I just had some sneaky suspicion maybe you've peed in a pool recently. You
Oh,
strike
should I
me as
change
someone
my
who might pee
answer?
in the pool. I don't know.
I don't think I know. I understand the event she's referencing. I
I would
don't.
hope not. I was there.
Well, I'm just surprised I remember it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that I did.
I'm
So if we're
I'm
talking
saying
as in
never as
our
well.
adulty lives, like our teen and
Yeah.
older lives, I'm gonna say never.
I haven't either, but I was just testing you. That was a
Testing the
test
waters,
question. Yeah.
see if the waters were blue
Dipping
or
my toe
yellow.
in. Yeah.
Um, yes. So Ainsley is referencing a lovely pool day that we had this year, and
I
let's
think we
just say
talked about it.
little margaritas were involved.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting out of the pool.
No.
So we'll
All
just
I'll
leave it
say
at
is
that.
my dad had to hose her down with the
Might
hose,
have had to been hosed down by
which was hilarious. I just remember walking up to him last time, and then he comes in because we have a hose that filters water into our pool. It's like big coiled hose so that it heats
yeah,
up because we don't have a heated pool. It's just a little pool.
yeah.
And so she's laying on the lounger, and events had occurred,
Might have
and
had an episode.
I went and told him, and he comes into the pool deck, and he's like, "Well, this is why we have this." And he pulls and uncoils the hose and sprays her with it, and she
Oh,
didn't even register it.
all I can no, but I can kind of I just remember like water, water in your ear when it was like let's go. It
Yeah,
feels weird, and I think I remember going like this
yeah.
because it was like right in my face and my nostrils
Yeah.
and my eyeballs.
So he was the
But
pool
it was
boy.
warranted.
Yes,
But I don't
but
believe I peed in the pool. I
no,
believe I got out
I don't
every
think you did
time.
either. But I just wasn't sure. I thought better just put that out there.
Just checking.
Never have I
Oh.
ever had chicken pox.
Oh,
I have an
never have
answer
I ever
for
had
this.
chicken pox.
I have quite
I'm
the
ready.
answer.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I have.
I have as well.
Ainsley, I feel like your I have needs to be in like even bigger letters. I've had them once when I was a kid. I think I have a little spot on a little beauty mark from it. But Ainsley, how many times have you had it, Ainsley?
I have had chicken pox 3 times, potentially 4. Yes. Lovely. I am quite literally a medical mystery. I am patient 0. We do not know what is wrong with me ever.
You need that on a shirt too. I am patient 0. Oh my gosh.
I just have so many things that just do not make sense, and I don't know why. And chickenpox is one of them. Every time I say that to someone, like anytime chickenpox come up, I'm like, oh yeah, I've had that 3 times, and they look at me with like these huge eyes, because like
And you're like, I have.
people like getting chickenpox twice is rare, and
Yeah.
I'm over here 3 times for sure,
I know.
possibly 4. So I had chickenpox for the first time when I was like 9 months old, or something. I was just a baby at the lodge.
You would have been, probably 7 or 8 months old.
Yeah.
When you got the chicken
And
pox the first time.
the first time, which I mean, I don't remember it, but I've heard the story numerous times. And my grandma and her best friend were up at the lodge to help out, and I was sleeping in their cabin.
I was
And
mad. So mad.
we go to bed. I wake up. Everyone wakes up, and I have all these little spots. And Mom was really mad. She's like, "Why didn't you guys put a
I
blanket
feel like
on
I
her?"
should be the one that tells the story because
Yes,
you
I don't
were
remember it.
hardly
I've
even
just heard
coherent.
it so many
Yes.
times.
So when my mom and her friend came up to visit us, the first summer, well, I guess it was the second summer that Ainsley was there because she was born in the middle of the first summer. So when Ainsley was 7 or 8 months old, no, August.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
No.
it was close to a year.
I would have been almost a year.
Yeah, you would have been almost a year. Okay, so almost a year old. My mom and her best friend came up for a week or 2. I want to say 2 weeks because to come that far for 1 week. So that's fine. So we had them in a little cabin, one of our guest cabins, and we had taken the crib that we had for Ainsley and we moved it into my mom and her friend's cabin so that they could, have all the fun they wanted to have with Ainsley. And trust me, as a new mom who was busy, I was quite happy to pass that on for a while. So that's fine. And so we're in the middle of the woods, and these are older cabins. They were built, I want to say, in the 50s. Well built, but still, they have their faults. So the first night, or when Ainsley had contracted the chicken pox, which we didn't know, the first night, the next day when she woke up, and so that's fine. They get up and they come into the kitchen and we're making breakfast. And I noticed that Ainsley had some mosquito bites on her. I'm like, hey, Mom, there's a mosquito net there for you to put over top of the crib. Can you please just make sure you have that over top just so we can avoid, Ainsley getting eaten alive at nighttime. And because we weren't about to spray any type of chemical bug spray on her. And she's like, yep, no problem. I can do that. I'm like, okay, sounds like a plan. And you weren't fussy. You didn't care. So it's fine. They go to bed that night. The next morning they come in and Ainsley has even more mosquito bites. And I'm like, Mom, I'm mad. I'm like, come on, Mom. Seriously, and she's like, but I did. I put the mosquito net on, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm like, well, obviously it wasn't secured well enough. This poor kid's getting more and more bites and it's going to, she's going to get irritable and whatever. And you still weren't in too bad a shape. So that was fine. And then by the third night when you got up, you had so many and we were like, wait a minute. And they had started to blister. So then we realized that they were actually chicken pox. And I did apologize to my mom. I'm like, I am so sorry. I feel bad.
Did I get the vaccine when I was born?
No, you were not eligible. No. Your brother was, but the year that you were born, when you became of age, they didn't have that as an option, but they did when your brother came around. And they say if you have chicken pox in less than 1 year old, you do have a chance of getting it again.
Right? I did.
You did.
I got it again. I got it again when I was 7. I got him over Christmas. We were here in Ontario for Christmas.
That's right.
I barely remember realizing I had them. I don't know what, I think I was just itchy on my back and I asked you about it. And my grandma, she was a nurse, she's a nurse her whole life. So she knew it all. And I just remember that you showed her and then I wasn't allowed to come into the bedroom because you guys were looking it up. And there was some gross photos of it and stuff like that. And I was a little bit freaked out. I was like, I'm dying. No.
And
But
we confirmed that yet again. And we were getting ready to literally the
we're
next
going to
day.
a Christmas party. No, I think it was that night.
It was a family function. It could have been that night.
Anyways, we had a Christmas party for our family, and there was going to be some babies there, which you don't want to, obviously don't want to give it to
No.
babies. So I wasn't allowed to go, which was I was very upset about
Yeah,
that.
we hadn't seen some of our family in years.
Yeah.
So
So
that
I know
was
Dad went and my brother and like the rest of our family went, but you stayed back with me, or
no,
did
I
you
think
go?
grandma stayed back with you.
Because I
And
do remember
then
that I came for the family photo. I was
you're kind
invited
of
for that. And then I do think
to
I
the
stayed for a
side and the
little bit.
back.
I think I went into the basement with some of the older kids, and I was
Yeah.
allowed to stay for a little bit, but we tried to like limit it,
Yeah.
and I came home. And I think because I have a little indent on my forehead, and I used to have two on my nose, and it was from that time. Because I remember we went out to some sushi place, and they were so
Oh,
itchy
yeah.
that I was putting the wet cloth on my face to try and not itch it. Yeah,
Oh
good
my
times.
gosh.
But and so that was that. And I think my brother may have gotten a few when we came home, but his wasn't bad at all.
No, I don't think he did because he had the vaccination. So I don't
Oh,
think
I
he
thought
got
we
them at
weren't
all.
sure. Anyways,
Maybe, but if he did, it wasn't very
and then
enough to really do
fast
it.
forward a couple more years, and I was 10, and I got them again. It wasn't as major this time.
Very mild case.
I had them kind of on the back of my neck, and I didn't go to school
your
for a
back of
couple
it.
days, but that's kind of what it was. And then again when I was 11, I had some
One or
signs, some spots, and we kind of just
yeah.
we were kind of
Where
like
we can't
just
confirm that one.
keep the hair down, go
Yeah.
with it. Nothing major, but I've definitely had them 3 times. And
In
so
conclusion,
I'm shingles
Ainsley
bound.
is eligible to have the shingles vaccination 10 years before, like, I think you can have it at 50. And we talked to some health practitioners that she can come in at 40.
Yeah.
Your chances of having shingles are pretty high.
Yeah. So
Because you're patient zero.
I'm patient zero.
That's
I'm
who you
telling
are.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So yes,
Weirdo. You weirdo.
I know.
You
Oh.
weirdo.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're getting there.
Okay. Next one.
Never have I ever eaten food that broke the 5-second rule.
Ew.
I have.
You have?
Oh yeah.
Well, you
Oh,
have.
sorry.
I have never.
Sorry, I have.
I also have. Absolutely.
I'll eat anything basically.
Me too.
Every time something falls on the floor and I eat it, someone's there, I'll be like, hey, my mom always told me I have to eat a pound of dirt before I die, so I'm good.
Right? Rules to live by.
Yep.
You need to eat a pound of dirt before you die.
I say that all the time. But I've
Do
definitely.
you really?
Oh yeah, I say it all the time. Every time I eat something and it's like got dirt on it or something, or like something's weird happened to it or whatever, I'm like, hey, you gotta eat a pound. I was like, my mom always told me you have to eat a pound of dirt before you die. I say it all the time.
You got to eat a pound of dirt
So,
before you die.
That's. I mean, there's lots of things I've eaten that have definitely
I know. Me
been on the
too.
ground for a few more than 5 seconds.
Well, and listen, when you're little and you would throw something on the floor, I didn't get to it sometimes within 5 seconds, and maybe I gave it to you. Maybe I gave it to me. I don't know.
Yes. Okay.
You know what? Okay. All right. That one's a pretty. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never
take
have I ever eaten an entire pizza by myself.
Oh.
I have a good story for this.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I have.
I have. Of course I have. I'm a glutton.
Yeah. I mean,
Domino's
I miss
pizza?
it. Now I have to eat gluten-free pizza, and it's
Okay.
so sad.
What's
But
your story?
So I worked at Domino's as a delivery driver for a few months when we lived in Flin Flon. And I worked during COVID, so their version of hazard pay was we could get food. And so for if I knew I was working like because I would start at 4, that's when we opened, and then if I knew I was working like the closing shift like till midnight, I would usually get a pizza. I'd ask them to make me a medium pizza. And so I'd ask them to make my pizza.
Well, you never brought any of that stuff home, so you ate more than one whole pizza.
I brought it home, but you never saw it. I would eat my pizza. I'd have a couple
You would
slices.
take it upstairs and hide it in your room, you little turkey. Oh, this is new news to me.
I would get my pizza around dinner time, like 6, 7, and I'd eat a couple slices, and then I'd keep working. I'd come home around 1 a.m., eat a couple more slices. I'd wake up in the morning and eat the last few slices. And that was my meal for 3 meals of the day right there.
Oh my gosh, I totally have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I've done that with pizza. I've done it with like an entire like pack of cinnamon buns.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what haven't I done? A
Exactly.
cake. I
All
can
of
eat
it.
a lot of things in one fell swoop by myself.
So like
100%
I
you can.
definitely spread it out. I mean, I definitely could eat a whole pizza in one sitting.
Yeah, I
probably
think I've
have,
spread it out. But within a
but-
day, like in the same day,
Oh, yeah.
I can eat something entirely.
Like I I had that down pat. Like I knew what I was doing.
I kind of feel like, why do I even have the red never card?
I
Because
mean,
I feel like
I've had a lot of nevers, but
I haven't had many.
you never
Okay.
know. Okay.
All right, you glutton who's hiding the pizza. I'm going to, oh, listen,
Okay.
listen.
Never have I ever slept in my car.
I have.
I have as well.
You have as well. What's your story? I feel like I might know this.
I mean, most of them, any of them have been with you, really. I know, like, we slept in the car when we drove here 35 hours straight one Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
We did not stop at a hotel, but that was my
No,
brother,
that's
a
right.
nice choice. And then my first year of school, when my dad and I drove from Manitoba, it was kind of COVID was a little bit lifting, and so people were like traveling all over Ontario, and there was not a hotel in sight that did not have an empty room, or that had an empty room.
Did
So
your dad try to pre-book a hotel room?
no,
No.
he said that we would get to Dryden and we would get a hotel. We got to Dryden, there were no hotels, so we kept driving. We drove to each little hotel, stopped, nope, nothing. And so it was about 1 a.m. I think, and Thunder Bay was still a couple hours away. So we're like, okay, pulled off the Trans Canada Highway onto one of the little side truck little loop-de-doo things and slept there
Yep.
for a few hours, and then went the next day. And he's like, should I book a hotel for Sudbury? I was like, I don't know. He's like, no, it's a bigger city. We got there was one room available, and it was a suite. So we had
Paying
to
the big
pay.
bucks.
He's like, I just paid $300 to lay down horizontal for 6 hours. We shared a king bed, and away we went.
Oh, I love it. That's
So
awesome.
I have slept in my car.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also have slept in my car. I mean, obviously, when we did the
drive.
straight through 30 some odd hour drive to Ontario. And I love this. So my husband and I, the kids were just little, so we took turns driving and we would sleep in the back. And so I can remember you'd be laying there and you'd be sleeping. And then when you knew it was time it was getting time to trade out drivers, because, you know, the person would be driving and all of a sudden you'd hear go, and it would go onto that
the rumble strip.
And then it might be several minutes later, and then all of a sudden, and so as you were laying there, you knew as the rumble strip, as the times between rumble strips got closer and closer, you're like, you know what, let's switch out. And it was the same for both of us. I am like trying to let my husband sleep. Okay, we got to switch out. But also back in my beveraging days as a late teenager and in my early 20s, I can remember one time going to Bob Cajun, which was probably an hour away from where I lived. And we went to this really cool bar, saw a great cover band, and we were partying on a boat. And my brother and I, we partied together. And so anyways, we both realized that neither of us could drive home that night. I think I had to work the next morning at like 7 or 8. So anyways, we took all the seats out of the van, just left them on the side of the road, and we slept. And then the next morning, I can remember we had to boogie out of there because I'm pretty sure either he or I had to work. So we throw the seats back in, don't even put them in, like don't even click them down, and we're taking off and we're going. And so my brother was driving and I was in charge of now fitting the van seats in. Well, we all know how motion sick I get on a good day.
Just finished drinking.
Let alone, you know, I just finished drinking all night and pretty much passed out in the vehicle. And I can remember trying to click these stupid van seats in, and all the windows are open, and I'm just like, just dry heaving, trying to get this done so I could look straight. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was fun. Anyways, we got home, and I'm pretty sure we got home in time for someone to go to work, either it was him or I. But you know, you did that when you were young.
Yeah.
We were responsible. We didn't drive home, so that's really, really good.
Exactly. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Listen, responsible. Someone could have stole all of our van seats. Oh, look, free van seats.
Try explaining that one to grandma and grandpa.
Well, yeah, because we were just teenagers that were like 19, maybe 20. How do you go home and be like, so I went to a party and now we have no van seats? That's a weird one to explain. Dodged a bullet there.
Yep.
Okay.
Never have I ever picked up a hitchhiker.
Oh. Okay. We ready? 1, 2, 3.
I have never.
You never have, and I never have either.
Look at us. We are good people. Well,
I have a story about this though. picking up a hitchhiker.
Oh.
So when I was in high school, I lived just out of town because we were in cottage country. So we lived on a lake. And so I was probably in grade 11 or 12 or whatever at the time. We had a small high school. There was only, I want to say 400 kids in it. It wasn't very big. And so anyways, I was driving to school the one morning and this kid is hitchhiking to school. I knew him quite well. And so anyways, he's sitting there and he's got his thumb out and I drive right past him and I wave. I remember his name was Jason. I remember that. And so anyways, I got to school. That was fine. Later on that day, he found me, or the next day, he's like, hey. I'm like, what? He's like, why didn't you pick me up? I'm like, I don't know. Like, my dad told me never to pick up a hitchhiker. He's like, dude, it was me. I felt so bad. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
awesome.
Next time I'll pick you up. Just let me know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like
I've
that was
never.
well before, like I didn't
Yeah.
have this, he didn't have my phone number to call me and say, hey, I need a ride or whatever.
Yeah.
And we didn't have cell phones back then either to text or whatever. I
Yeah.
just remember I waved at him and I think I looked in the rearview mirror and he's like this. Like,
Yeah,
with
like
this,
I've
like, what the heck?
definitely picked up someone I know, but never someone I don't know. I would never do that.
Right? I didn't even pick up somebody I don't know. I do know. Don't know. So there you go. Never have I
There you
ever.
go. There you
Okay.
go.
There you go. Next one.
Last one. This is the last one.
Oh, our last one. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
look at that. Never have I ever hit a parked car.
Never have I ever hit a parked car. Okay. All right. Ready? 1,
Yes.
2, 3. Ainsley has and she has never.
Yes.
She's done both. I have, and she has and has never.
I've done
All in the
both.
same swap.
'Cause
How does that roll?
Well, I was in the car, but I wasn't driving.
So then how did you hit it? Well, I guess the
'Cause I
driver
was
hit
in the
it.
car. I just want to tell the story.
Okay. Okay, go for it.
I was I was at a tournament in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and just a few of us went. I don't want to get into too many details because
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know who watches this, and I don't want to upset anyone. Anyways, there was just like a few of us that went. Like it was not really a team sport type thing, and so we took a minivan to this tournament because it was just a couple hours away.
Oh, okay.
And we were staying in this hotel, and we went to wake up the next day to go to said tournament. And the chaperone that was with us we were in the parking lot, and they were backing up, and me and this other girl are in the back seat together, and we're kind of looking at each other and looking behind us like there's a truck parked behind us
Oh,
here.
no.
And this poor person backed up and hit the truck but braked at the same time and then drove forward, and we were just looking at each other, and they're like, oh, did I hit that truck? And we're like, yeah, I think you did. And they're like, oh, I thought I just braked really hard. I was like, no, you hit that truck. And so they got out and went in and told like the front desk, but there was no damage or anything like that. But it was just like, I just remember looking at this girl and we're both like, we're going to hit this truck back here.
I thought I braked really hard.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I get
like,
it.
well, the car
Yes.
stopped you.
It did.
Yeah.
It helped you to brake really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I have something similar. I actually just recently hit 2 things in like the span of 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't even think your father knows about this, but it's nothing but there was no damage made on any of the accounts, thank goodness. But anyways, yeah, I was at our local grocery store and I was running in to grab some things, running back out, and where I parked just to the back side of me, there's a very big telephone pole, which has been there for years. Didn't just automatically just start being there. And so anyways, I was trying to get Bucker home really quick. And so I put it in reverse. I looked back, but it obviously was clearly in my blind spot. And listen, I only had to go like 4 feet, not even 3 feet.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, boom. And I'm like, what the heck? And I
You even
ran
have
into
a
the telephone
backup
pole.
camera too.
I did, and I have sensors, but none of the sensors went off. Nope,
Maybe they were covered
nobody
in
was telling me
snow.
a thing. Nothing on my car was telling me a thing. I'm like, oh my God. And the place was packed too. One of my
Yeah.
best friends saw it. He's like, ooh. And I'm like, oh my God. But anyways, I just have a scratch on my like plastic bumper. No biggie. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then probably a week or 2 later, I was in a vehicle with my son's girlfriend. And we were headed somewhere, I think early in the morning. It was dark out. And so so that's fine. So we're trying to get to the place we need to be on time. So I put it in reverse and I go to back up and I go to like just back around the house, and all of a sudden, boom, and I stop. I'm like, what's that? And she goes, that's my truck. I was like,
Oh
my
no.
gosh.
Oh no.
But earlier, like that night when the truck was parked elsewhere, but obviously they had went somewhere and parked
Yeah.
back. I was like, oh my God. I said, I am so sorry. And she's like, that's okay. I was so mad at myself. Anyways, not a scratch. Like I was
Oh.
hardly going, like not a scratch on her car, not
I
a
don't
scratch
have
on my
that luck.
car.
Last year this doctor's office I was go to, their parking is really bad. Like it's a very tight parking area, and I'd always park in the one side. And it was like the one time, it was the last time I was going before I was gonna come home. And I was like, there was an easier parking spot. I was like, these are never open. I'm gonna park here.
Ooh.
And it was kind of like the cement was really weird, and it kind of like went up on an angle right at the end of the, like right when you get into the spot. Like I pulled into it, and it was
Yep.
just like the little curb was there, so it wasn't flat. And so I pulled in, and then because how it was angled, it went underneath the front bumper, so the whole
Oh,
front end of the car is scratched. Did not tell anyone that. Ooh, now you know.
whatever.
I was like,
Listen, it
this thing has
happens.
been through enough.
I know
It
it happens.
it
It's an older
has, I
car.
mean, it has a hole in the bumper from my dad, so a scratch.
Yeah.
So the whole front is scratched. I was in the car with my girlfriend, and I was like, I just started to panic. I was like, no, I was like, I wasn't even gonna park here, and I was just like freaking out. I was like, no,
Yeah.
like the whole thing's scratched, but it's like kind of underneath. I was like, this car is gonna be driven till it literally cannot
Till
drive
it
anymore.
dies.
So
Yep. Till it
I was
can.
like, and I don't care if it looks pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a hole in the bumper, so
Right. Listen, I was really mad too. I was mad at myself. I was
Yeah.
so mad. And then the second time I was so mad. And then we instantly burst out laughing. Like I'm like,
well, at
don't
least she
tell,
handled
don't
it
tell anybody.
well.
Oh gosh, she was great about it. And she has this giant truck. My truck's just little. But now when I go to the grocery store, I don't park near that
No.
telephone pole anymore. And anybody that's local that's watching this, I know I'm not the first one to have
Yes.
backed into this telephone pole because it's right in the middle of the parking lot. And I know I won't be the last one, but I am one. I feel like I should like maybe notch my name
Yeah.
in that telephone pole to be like, yep, I hit it. I did it.
Yep,
I hit
that's
it.
you.
I hit it. There's a bit of a scratch up my bumper, but not enough. There was no damage, thank goodness. So I'm like, meh, no harm, no foul. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Right? Listen, it all happens.
It
Rubbin
is
is
what it
racing.
is.
Rubbin is racing, Ainsley.
It is.
Just saying. So
Mhm.
yeah, so we only have 7 more days until you're home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I love it.
So excited.
Okay, that's good. Well, listen, that was really kind of interesting.
It was fun. Learned
That took a lot longer than I thought, but it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And I can believe you hid pizza on me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm surprised about that.
I mean, I know I've learned that if I don't want something to be eaten, I will take it with me.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
there
not
have
going
been
to judge you.
times I have labeled my food and it is still gone.
It's still got meat in our
And
fridge.
usually the main culprit is my father. I usually have to very specifically be like, please do not eat these leftovers because they are my lunch for tomorrow. And even then it's hit or miss as to
It's,
whether
you
it'll
know,
be there.
You're rolling the dice. You're
Yeah,
rolling the
you really
dice.
are.
I get it.
So I
I
would
get
take my pizza up to my room and eat it and then eat it again in the
Oh
morning.
my gosh. I love it, Ainsley. That's awesome.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you again for listening to another Second Saturday.
Yes, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for upcoming podcasts because we'll be together again soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you also know what that means is when we're together, someone has to eat hot sauce.
Oh, no. I forgot about that already.
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I can't wait. So anyways, yeah, that's going to be a good day. It's going to be
No,
a good day.
I was out and about the other day with my girlfriend and we got food from the mall and she got mashed potatoes and I was like, oh, I want to try some, and they were too peppery. I couldn't do it. They were too peppery. So I'm
you are
screwed.
so hooped.
Oh, I'm
you are
screwed.
so hooped with the hot sauce. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I
No.
am going to probably pee my pants laughing. Like no mercy.
Yeah.
Hashtag no mercy.
Hashtag no mercy.
Hashtag no mercy.
Yeah, that
When
would be
Ainsley used to
lovely.
play in high school sports, me and this other mom, that was our thing. We were hashtag
Yes.
no mercy. We were like, you get
Hashtag
them.
no mercy.
Yeah. I actually was watching like a short, I think it was on Facebook the other day, and it was a video of like a high school basketball game, and somebody was throwing a free throw.
Mhm.
And so it was a girl, and the girl throws it up and completely misses the hoop, and all you hear from the crowd is air ball. And then like the refs
Oh.
start looking out and everything, and then all you hear is, it's okay. It's my daughter. I can say that. I thought, oh my gosh, I would totally do that
Yes.
to you. I would have totally
Oh,
done
you
that to you.
definitely could.
And I sent it. I
was
actually
just too
sent that.
good. Oh yeah.
I sent that to my girlfriend that we used to go together all the time. I'm like, oh, I would totally, me or her husband would have totally heckled our
Yeah.
two daughters and
Oh,
done that. We would
definitely.
have been the ones yelling, oh, airball.
Definitely. Definitely.
So good. All right. Well, let's wrap this
Anyways.
up. I hope you guys all enjoyed this on this fine Sunday.
Yes.
And yeah, have a great week and we will see you next Sunday.
We'll see you next Sunday.
See ya.
Bye.